Welcome back to the channel, guys. I was going to have the video topic as something else, but I decided that this was a better topic to cover at the moment. And of course, this topic is me explaining why you should fear the flood. Now let's get into the meat and cheese of this. In Halo Combat Evolved, there are plenty of creepy things in the mission that the flood is introduced in, such as ambient flood noises that you can hear as you approach the facility. The Covenant are acting different as you enter the facility. You notice instead of guarding against you and keep preventing you from getting in the structure, they're defending against something that is inside the structure. Another offsetting thing that you can find during this mission is, of course, the crazed Marine, who will not let you approach him. He is very hostile towards the player, and butchered corpses that are pretty mangled, pretty gruesome, lots of blood around these corpses. And then there's also this mysterious dripping that's not quite explained until you get further into the mission. Once you get to the locked door at the end of the first act of the mission, you get the reveal of the flood. And of course, the reveal is very terrifying. You get to see the squad of Marines completely overran by the flood. And then right after that cutscene, you're first forced with fighting the flood firsthand. And other than just what you saw, the infection forms, you also get greeted by combat forms. And then you also get to see their intellect, showing how they use weapons against you. They further show their strength by taking out any remaining Marines in the facility, as well as the Covenant right before your eyes. Now, all of these things are scary for sure, but other than that, the fear factor, why should you be scared of them? Well, there's many more reasons. One being the build up to the flood's reveal. There's a 12-hour gap in between the cutscene that shows the Marines getting attacked by the flood and Master Chief arriving at the facility. And of course, by then, the flood are very well formed. They've got a lot of combat forms gathered. So there's an element of it where they're keeping themselves hidden intentionally as to not give themselves away. They're kind of luring in more victims, which of course is another point. Whether it's intentional or not, the flood lure in chief by using human weapons against the Covenant outside the facility, drawing him in, thinking that he might find UNSC forces still in the area. Another thing that may or may not be intentional is the flood leaving survivors to draw in reinforcements, a rescue squad, anything of that sort. Because as you see, there are Covenant that are still remaining that need help, and as well as a couple of UNSC Marines that you can find. Of course, there's the crazed Marine, but there's another group that you can find in the facility. Of course, sometimes you don't even get to see them because they get butchered before you even get to them. Adding on to all of that, you have the factor that this flood that you combat in the first Halo is in a feral state. And despite it just being a feral state and not being very coordinated through a grave mind, it's still very ruthless in how it hunts its victims and how it gathers more hosts for the infection forms. You see many times throughout the missions where the flood will go out of its way to set up an ambush, such as in the room where you're introduced. They come busting in through every door that they can. And then I think another good example of this would be kind of towards the end of the mission when you're escaping into the swamp with Marines. The flood come all out of the upper swamp, just completely collapsing on your forces. And then once you do get to the evac area, they come in from all sides, completely swarming the survivors. Adding on to all these points, you put this in like a Marine or a regular human's perspective. Not being a Spartan, they're very vulnerable to the flood and their form of infection, which of course is getting through and of course invading the host body, which is very gruesome. You can see examples of this as if an infection form latches onto a Marine, they are doomed. They cannot be saved no matter how hard you try. Of course, you don't get to see many more examples of this because after this mission where they're introduced, well, you don't get to fight the flood with Marines by your side anymore after this mission. And finally, the most horrifying aspect of the Flood is just how fast and efficient they are in Halo Combat Evolved. From the time that you're introduced to them to the end of the game, they have formed a proto-Gravemind, which has almost given them the ability to pilot a Covenant ship and escape the Halo ring and begin to infect the rest of the universe. But of course, they do not get to do this because Master Chief stops them. But just the rate at which they were able to accomplish all of that is very terrifying indeed. And this is just the Combat Evolved Flood we're talking about, a feral state. This is not to mention Halo 2 and 3's upper level infection. The Gravemind is much smarter, and the Flood is in a much more advanced state in Halo 2 and 3 to the point where it gets pure forms. But I actually want to tackle that on a different video. I just wanted to use this video to cover the topic of how they were introduced in Combat Evolved and how they were initially super terrifying. We will cover the Halo 2 and 3 version of the Flood in a different video. And just in case you haven't seen this mission, or if you're completely new to the Halo franchise, I'm going to just play some footage from the mission, just a whole little playthrough of the mission for anybody who has not done this mission, so they can kind of experience. But if you do have the chance to play this mission, I highly suggest you play it yourself, because the just atmosphere of this mission is absolutely perfect for the plot of the story. But of course, subscribe so you can see the Halo 2 and the Halo 3 Flood explanations. They will be much more detailed than this one, because there's a lot more to talk about on those cases. But anyways, here's the footage, and I hope to see you in the next video.
Dropship was from this area. That was over 12 hours ago. When you locate Captain Keyes, radio in, and I'll come pick you up. Dropship Victor 9, pillar or bottom. If anyone needs assistance, we are under attack by some new kind of hostile. It isn't Covenant. Captain Keyes has been captured by hostiles. Dug in at a large structure in a swamp. Can hold out. Please. I will send this message to repeat at intervals. Dropship Victor 933, clear.
not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me! Ah! Ah! Don't touch me, you freaks! I won't be like you, I'll die first! Find your own hiding place, the monsters are everywhere! Play dead! That's what I did. Play dead. They took the live ones. Oh God, I can still hear them. Monsters! Mendoza, Vicente. Oh God, the things took them.
Why do we always have to listen to this old stuff, Sarge?
Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you, grunts, what we're fighting to protect.
Hey, does the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history? That's fine by me.
Yeah, better it than us.
You ask him real nice next time you see him, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige.
LZ looks clear. I'm bringing us down.
Go, go, go! Stay close, Jenkins. Mendoza, move it up! Wait here for the captain and his squad, then get your ass inside.
Sir!
Okay, let's move!
Which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides.
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something?
What do we have, Sergeant? Looks like a Covenant patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
Real pretty. Friend of yours?
Nah, we just met.
Right, well, let's get this door open.
I'll try, sir. But it looks like these Covenant worked pretty hard to lock it down.
Just do it, son.
Yes, sir. Got a bad feeling about this.
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about
Captain,
something.
Sarge, can you hear me?
What's going on, soldier?
We've got contact, lots of them, but they're not Covenant. They're just tearing through us. What the? Oh, no!
Corporal, do you copy? Over. Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on.
But-
I don't have time for your lip, soldier. I gave you an order.
Sarge! Listen!
What is that?
Where's that coming from, Mendoza?
I don't... There! Mira! Hold still! Hold still!
Let him have it. Sergeant, we're surrounded. God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapon!
There are too many,
Don't
Sarge!
even think about it, Marine.
Get back here, Marine! That's an order!
Jenkins!
been lost out here for hours. After we lost contact with the rest of the mission, we headed for the RV point, and then these things, they ambushed us. We gotta get out of here. The cavalry has arrived!
There's a large tower a few hundred meters from your current position. Find a way above the fog and foliage canopy, and I can move in and pick you up.
Best you can do!
I'm on it.
Good one!
Baby, I'm on fire! I am sorry!
Drag out!
Cut it out.
Baby, who's your daddy?
Yeah, got him!
Nice shot. My fault. That's tough.
We don't have a chance! Who's with me?
That's for sure. Oh, that got him! Oh god, I recognize that one. That was Bob! Is it the best you can do? Careful, it could be anyone.
Fire in the hole! What the? Make sure it's down! Oh, it came out of nowhere!
Damn it. Crap.
I'm hit! Good one! That was me, my bad. Yikes!
Oh.
You are... Kill it! Kill it! Hey, I've got him on this side. Drag out! That's the best you can do! Don't like that, do ya? Oh! That was a close one. Cover fire! All right. Let me get that for you. Keep it up.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
What the? Firing! I recognize that one now. Oh! I'm hit! Cover fire! That can't be all of them.
Greetings. I am the monitor of Installation 04. I am 343 Guilty Spark. Someone has released the flood. My function is to prevent it from leaving this installation, but I require your assistance. Come, this way.